In the class this week, we're not going to do a complete song. We're going to do some of the words that we've not learned before from several of the songs from the morning service. So we'll just take a look at those. So this will just be one video and there will be no practice to music. So we did do a Bible school song, so you can learn that one, and then these will just be some keywords that we've not learned before. And we'll start with the sign for key, for keywords. All right, so here's my key, and this would also be for lock or unlock, but you've got the key there. Okay. All right, then we have lion, which we may have had before, but you basically show the mane of the lion like that, because we have a song about the Lion of Judah. All right, so clouds. You've got all this mist here in front of you, the clouds. All right, now we're going to learn how to do a particular country that doesn't have its own specific name, like the modern day countries like France and Germany and America. They all have specific names. We're not doing that. But one of our songs has Judah, and Judah was a country, or at least part of a country. Okay, one of the tribes. All right, so so this is the sign for country. You take a Y and circle it on your arm like that. And so for Judah, I'm going to do a J and then country. So you just take the first letter of the country and then make the country sign. And if you were interpreting a sermon or something where, it wasn't understood what country you were doing, you might have to spell it out completely, at least the first time, and then tell the deaf people or person that you're signing for what, if you're shortening it to this, then let them know what that is. Now, if you're doing a city, you would do something different. So the sign for house is like to make a roof and then come down. And if you have a lot of houses, you have a city or town. So this is, like this, making a bunch of houses. So for something like Zion, which is a city, you would make your Z and then make the city sign. So if it was Jerusalem, you would do a J and then the city sign. Okay. All right, and again, this is different if it's in a song and the person knows what the words of the song are, whereas if you were, you might have to spell it out in a sermon or something like that. All right, the sign for slain or killed is, this is kind of like a knife or something, and you slay somebody with it, stab. You can also use a K and do the same motion. So either a finger or a K with like a twisting motion in there. All right, then we have open the gates or open a door. All right, so the sign for open is like this. You open. Door would be like that. Okay, so you can open the doors wide. But our song today has gates, so here's their gates, and you can open the gates like that. So open the gates versus open the door, and this would just be door. Kind of open and close it. Okay, confidence. Don't confuse it with healing. This is heal. And confidence, you make a more, this is also bold or confident. So you make a real firm, strong motion, and as opposed to heal. Okay, trouble, excuse my voice today. All right, trouble and worry are the same motion. Trouble I do with B's, and you go in front of your head. All these troubles are kind of in the way. And then worry is with W's. So So this is like worry or anxiety. If you would say casting your care upon him, this is what I would do. And then trouble. Okay, feast. So this is food. And if you're feasting, you want to really stuff it in there like that. Okay. For restored, we're doing make new. So if you restore something, you make it like new. So make, we already know that. And new, we may have had that before. So come in like this, new. Make new, restored. Okay, consumed. in the song that we have, consumed kind of means overwhelmed, at least in this instance. So what I would do is do the sign for overwhelmed. So it's like this. So something is going over your head. It's overwhelming you. Okay. All right. Then we have people names. Some people have their own specific names. Of course, you know, every interpreter has their own sign name and every deaf person has their own sign name, but I'm talking about biblical names. So somebody like King David would have his own sign name. You take a D and you do that royal banner just the same as you would for King or Lord or Christ, but you do it with a D for David. Okay. Not in the song, but Abraham is another one that has his own name. So this is like he's taking a knife ready to stab Isaac and he gets stopped. God stops him. So he's ready to stab and he gets stopped. So that's Abraham. Okay, and then there are other people in the Bible that don't have their own sign name. And so usually what I do, and if it's in a sermon, I make sure, of course, I spell it out and make sure that they know who I'm talking about, and then you can shorten it after that. So, for example, Jacob, who's in our song. So remember, we have the male part of the head and the female part of the head. And so if it's a male, then I would do like J in the male part of the head for Jacob. Whereas if you had like Adam, that'd be an A, and Eve would be down here in the female part with an E. And now Mary has her own sign name since she was a virgin. This is the sign for virgin. So if you take an M and come down like that, that's Mary. Okay. All right. Root would be like this. You've got roots down in the bottom of a plant, or in this case, we're talking about like the root of David in this song. Okay, so that's root. Okay, then we've got a song, Is He Worthy, today, and so we already know the sign for worthy. Is he worthy? And have a questioning look on your face. Is he worthy? And the answer to all those questions is going to be yes. Whether it is or he is or whatever, you just say yes to that. Okay. Then another song in that sign. The next songs will be in, the next signs will be in that song, from that song. So blessed or blessed or blessing. So we've done the other signs in that phrase. We have honor, where you take H's, and we have, of course, glory. And so now we're having blessing. This is our first time for that sign. I really like this sign. I've always thought it was pretty cool. So anyway, you touch your thumb to your lips, and then you kind of move your hands out like that. And then the third part is it's like you're laying your hands on someone's head and blessing them. It's kind of like the laying on of hands. So you do this. So that's blessing. Blessing. So one thumb touches the lip, the other thumb is there, and then you come out and put your hands on the heads like that. or a head. Blessing. So you have like honor and blessing and glory and power, etc. Okay. And a few other signs. I don't remember if we've done the sign for remember. So um, the song uses remind, which would be the same as remember. So you touch your thumb to your head like this, and then you come down onto your other thumb. So that's remember or remind. Okay. And then we have the seal. This is the song, the part of the song where it talks about breaking the seal and opening the scroll. So for seal, this is kind of like a seal pushing down and flattening the seal. And then for open the scroll, you do your scroll open like that. Some people might do it with the whole hand, or you could do the finger, which represents like the metal stick that would go inside the scroll. So open the scroll like that. So you want to break the seal and open the scroll. Okay, and then the word intend is in there, and for intend I would use the sign for plan. Does God intend or does God plan to do this? And remember, we've had the sign for plan before. Okay, and then there's the sign for tongue. And for tongue, it really depends on what it means in the song. So is it meaning a literal tongue, in which case you would point to the tongue? But in this song, I believe it means the languages. It's talking about tribes and nations and tongues. And so different nations have different languages. So I would not point to the tongue. I would do the sign for language, which is L's. This is the same thing you would do for sign language. So language takes L's and goes like this. Okay. All right, so that's what I would use for tongue in that song, Is He Worthy? Okay, that's enough for this, and we'll see you at the next lesson.